Welcome to North Dakota After Dark, Season 3, episode TBD. I really have no idea at this point. We are on what they would call a loose French schedule right now, which means we kind of show up and do stuff when we feel like it. That is not to say I'm in favor of the EU. I'm actively against it. But I will use the French analogy because it fits. We're very pleased today to welcome, I think we're probably in the double digit for central guests now, which is probably where everyone likes it, right? Jake Plutowski. So happy to have another Polish guy on. I'll invite you to my satellite podcast, Pierogi Power. You'll be my first guest and only
Perfect.
guest. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you coming on. Tell us, I know your brief bio, you are one of the coaches of the Grand Forks Central JV hockey team. You're involved with Team North Dakota. You are a tolerator of Matt Moreland. You live in Riverside. And what else is on your resume?
Oh, well, background to there. I work for the city, so I pick up your guys' garbage. We can start there for a little bit and
Probably not theirs. They're kind of snooty assholes that live on the south end, Pluto, but mine at the very least, because we're
yeah.
real people. We're real people. We're not people pretending to be real people. We're actual real. Go ahead, though. Sorry.
No, absolutely. I do have to go out that way on Wednesdays, but that's okay.
Ooh.
I would put a stop to that if I was you. I don't know what like the union rules are or whatnot, but I'd draw a heavy line at 47th. I'd be
I was
like,
just gonna say, yeah, just try to draw a line at a certain spot there, and that's it.
no way.
Where I stop.
I'm okay with that line. Yeah.
I was gonna say Corey's still marked safe, but
I'm not
Ryan.
because I think, Pluto, you would be impressed
Absolutely.
how fast I can open my garage door and drag a garbage can down the driveway in my underwear. It's very impressive.
Hey,
Run.
not
Run.
seeing that is crazy.
Yeah.
The casual person just runs out. Hey, you forgot me. Well, was it out? No. Okay.
I will beat the truck.
Crazy.
If I miss it, I let it go, right? I understand it, I'll have another chance, or I can take it to the icon.
Exactly.
Sorry, Phil Thunder. Stack it up in your garage. See you next week. Maybe.
Or you got to hope that you know the person across the street well enough, you can just go throw it in there.
Yeah. Fair points. Yeah.
Like everybody else does. They miss you. I'll just walk it across the street and throw it in theirs.
Yeah, not my problem.
Yeah.
I hate to derail us this early, but we've got to hear the best. Some person either flagged you down / ran across half naked / needed their garbage to go out that day story.
Okay. Yeah. No, I have a good one. I was working for, it was a different company at the time, and I was picking up a certain area, and I had rolled up, and the person's house I was at, they came out and they were talking to me, and they're like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then the lady next door came running out, forgot hers, and she come running down the driveway, and she's sitting there talking to us, and the guy looks over there. She's in a robe and, looks at her, goes, hey, ma'am, your titty's out. Full blowing. And I had to just chuckle, and I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. And I'm like, well,
Oh my God.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
And, hurry up, does the cover up, and
You should have said, hey, your titty's out, but your trash isn't. We'll see you next week.
It was a tough one not to laugh at. And yeah, I'll back up and grab yours. That's okay. That's my best one.
Well, that was nice. I mean, he at least he said it, like he could have let her just keep going, but
That's right.
Garbage in a show.
Nice about it.
What I got that day on a fine Tuesday morning.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah, that's probably the best one. I've had some other old men run out, it's like Kyle said, in their underwear, and hey, my garbage. Yeah, I'll get it. And sometimes you feel bad. Sometimes you don't. But
I can't hear you.
Yeah, exactly. I had a couple college kids, just today actually come out. They had a bunch of extra stuff I'd already been by, and then coming back the opposite way, and they're waving me down. I'm like, I already went down that side, I'll come back around. And normally, so I'm gifted, like on the north end, we have alleys. So my truck has an arm on both sides. So I can go down the alley and pick up both sides of the alley. That truck is down right now. There was an issue with it. So I was in a one-armed one. So had to do it differently today. But yeah, so they're kind of chasing me down. Like, why didn't you grab ours? Like, well, I was already on that side. You kind of missed me. So what do? Yeah, you wait till next week, or hopefully I'm nice enough to turn around and come and grab you again.
Yeah, no
Which
kidding.
today I was. I guess I was in a good mood today.
It was a good day.
Yeah, today was a fine day. So
Who knew? So much good content there. Do you call the one-on-one Richard Kimball, or do you let that one go?
no, I'll let that one go.
Okay. Um,
Good
sorry.
call.
Okay, so we derailed your resume. Any other fine points you want to throw on there?
No, I mean, I guess I would go back to, I'll just kind of give my whole story of, played hockey all the way through here,
Yeah.
and I started off at the youth level back when, like, I mean, I know other people have said it that it's kind of different now than it was back then. When I think I was a Lake Agassiz kid, that's where I played back then, and then you jump into the other stuff in Pee Wees, and my Pee Wee level was a little different. We kind of started our own little, it was called the Red Army team. We had started that. We did that for 2 years, and then we contemplated keeping that for Bantams, and then we said no, let's go our separate ways, and or not separate ways, but just try out for Bantams and keep it, the traditional way. And then did that. Obviously, played at Central. Did my few years there. Went and played juniors in Dubuque, Iowa. That was before they were back in the USHL. It was the Central States Hockey League. Played there for a year and then half a year, whatever it was. And then I ended up going up to Botno and playing 2 years of college there. And now lifelong beer leaguer. It's where I'm at now.
Well, as we all say, that's where all roads lead there, right? But at least you had a
absolutely
fun trip to get there.
Yeah, and I kind of this year I didn't do as much. I mean, and it was funny when I first started coaching at Central, and I was talking with Timmy, and he's like, "Hey, you're not going to want to do it in a few years. Like, you're on the ice for X amount of hours a day, and you kind of want to slow down." And first few years, I was like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Now I'm kind of at that point where I'm like, yeah, I've just been on the ice for 4 hours. My feet kind of hurt. Now I got to get my skates off, get dressed, go back out there again. I'm like, So it's kind of diving down a little bit on that, but still have a lot of fun. I do it to hang out with the guys. That's my main point. All the friends, and sit down for a night, have a couple drinks, and chit chat. That's pretty much why I do it now.
Yeah.
So.
Would agreed. It's obviously a lot of fun. It's not certainly not something you get rich doing, and there's some
No, not at all.
Bumps and bruises along the way, but still ultimately pretty fun. So I said in the intro you coach the JV team, and I find that an interesting type of transition too, where you're trying to make the players better. Obviously, you're getting them in a lot of cases out of bantam, and then trying to move them forward. And again, it's really kind of like truly a developmental type of coach. So do you adjust your approach that way, knowing you need to eventually pass them along, or do you try and, I guess, what's your approach to where you fit into the pyramid there?
Yeah, no. So it's kind of like what we say to them at the beginning of kind of the first thing on ice is like, hey, you guys are here right now. Like, we want to push you from this locker room over to that locker room. Like, we want to get them into that varsity locker room. We want each kid to grow and do as much as we can to push them to get there. And there's a lot of skill-based stuff that we do right away. And that's kind of where our practices lead. Like, it's a lot of skill-based things. Like, Wednesdays we have skill day, and we do our system stuff because we still have to, play a hockey game, right? You still have to go out there and have to do a little bit of your power play, your forecheck, all that. But to get them to there is a lot of skill stuff, and they're still talented JV players. Like, everybody thinks it's, oh, I made the JV team. Like, no, hey, you're still here. You still made this team. Like, you're a part of it. We're just trying to help you get to your potential to get you onto that next level or to the next locker room, like I said at the beginning there. So.
And then sort of as a follow-up to that, knowing, each coach obviously has their own style, their own things they like to focus on. Do you just kind of stick with what you like and what you know, or do you try and tailor it a little bit, knowing what the guys will be getting when they say move up to varsity?
No, like, so we try, I mean, myself, yeah, I mean, maybe right away, like, I'm still kind of new to this, right? Like, I'm only in my 6th year. So I've kind of tailored off of Matt, Timmy, and Grant a little bit, kind of what they've taught, and then, introducing a little things of my own here and there. And I'd say a lot of my stuff, I kind of fall back on shooting. That's kind of what I was. I was a shooter, so
Yeah.
I do a lot of shooting stuff where I'm at, and then you can't focus on one thing, right? Because you might have kids that are still good at that or better at that. They got to learn the other fundamentals. So you try to base a certain day off of some things, or do every drill in a practice that pushes towards an end thing at the end of the practice, where you do a little game here or a little situation down in the corner here, and it all goes to the end. We're like, hey, now some kids are like, well, why do we do that? What do we do this for? And then it's like, hey, everything we just did now translates into that last little thing that we did at the end of practice.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we base what I do, at least. Like, and we're not all the same. Like you said, every coach is different. Everyone is a little different from day to day, and I think we all kind of learn off of each other too sometimes.
Yeah. It's nice to have that, I guess, that collaborative effort, obviously, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
and then last one, I'll let these guys ask some questions. Another one I thought about prior is one of the things I think is kind of nice about the JV level there is it's sort of a reset for kids coming out of youth hockey, right? If you were an X, Y, Z type player all the way through, you get to JV, it's sort of a chance to reinvent yourself. Do you, again, it's been 6 years. What do you think or I guess I'll ask it a different way. Do you think you can spot kids that maybe will excel at the high school level that maybe were, sort of a middle of the road type of player coming out of Bantam? Or does it take a little time to suss out what you have there?
No, I mean, you can see it pretty well. And I mean, even like what I thought maybe you were going to say was, some kids are defensemen their whole time coming up, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, no, you should be up here. They played forward growing all the way up. And then you get them there and they're like, no, you're a D-man. Like you notice those type of things. And sometimes you do for certain kids, you see, progression right away, or what's going to become of them. But I think as long as the kids want to put the effort in and they do as much as they can to push themselves to get themselves there, we're going to help them get there. And that's kind of what I think all is our end goal, right? Is to push them to their full potential.
I think too, and I might have kind of a closer relationship with it with having Matt and Jake coach together, but I think a cool thing about Central, and yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to plug Central. Okay. We've already established this, but I think a really unique thing, and Jake, you kind of touched on it, is there is JV, there is varsity, but you guys have a nice flow of that being really cohesive. Even the fact that you're going to see all four coaches on the bench at the JV games, and then you see all the same four coaches on the bench at the varsity level. It's because you guys do create this environment of, yes, there are some players that are JV, yes, there are varsity, but the whole desire is that it's all Grand Forks Central. The goal being to give everybody opportunity, time up top. That door always exists. And a lot of the varsity guys skate both JV and varsity, and a lot of the JV guys skate both JV and varsity. Like it's just a very open door to all of that. It's cohesive and it flows. It's not two separate teams. Those two teams spend a lot of time together because the desire is for, like you say, it's not for anyone to just stay at JV. They want that transition. And I'm sure that all teams are very similar, but I just know specifically what I see with Central. And so I think that's really cool when I observe you guys. And then I also like the approach that, I know you guys get a lot of kids that come in and they're so worried, like, oh, I don't want to skate JV. I don't want to be perceived as a JV player. And the answer at Central is it's more ice. There's no one who's too good to get more periods of hockey. If that's more playing time, it's not an insult to you. It's not to hold you back. It's literally to say there's no, Matt will always make the joke, if Judd Caulfield could play JV, so could you. Like he always says that because it's just, again, it's not punitive. We're all one team. We are one program. And there's not a player on planet Earth that is worse off for more periods of hockey played, you know? So I think that's unique to you guys in some ways. In other ways, I'm sure other programs do that as well. But I think it's a good, just a healthy attitude. And then, like you say, for those players coming out of Bantams who are worried or feel like, oh, I'm just JV and stuff, it's like, no, it's all together. This is one program. So I think that's really cool. It's something I admire about Central, and I like the way that you guys run that program because I think it's good for everybody. I think it's good for the JV kids. I think it's good for the varsity guys. And then, like you say, hopefully those guys, it's fluid and they don't remain where they are, that they move. And I think that's, I don't know. I think it's really cool. Go Central.
No,
Yeah, you
absolutely.
freaking heard me, Erie, and I saw your head pop up.
I'm just waiting for a question somewhere in that, Kelly.
Sorry, I love the fight. Okay, I love to be the troublemaker. Okay. Yeah. Hey.
No, like you said there, like, yeah, it's, you know, it's not on paper. Yeah, you see a paper that's Central JV or Central Varsity. Like on paper, yes, that's what it is. But in a whole, we are just one big team. And it's, I mean, anything's interchangeable any single day, right? Like some kid doesn't perform, like, hey, you know what, this guy played really well today. He's gonna get a shot today, or he looked really good at practice. You know, you never know from day to day. It's how the kids perform. You know, one day the kid might not have a good day and somebody else might. We're like, hey, we're going to give him a shot. But that doesn't mean that kid's shunned or bad or anything like that. It's like, yeah, an off day. Like it happens, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, in the end of the day, we all wear the same uniform and we're all just one big team. It's not, you know, like I said, paper, yeah, it says different, but in a nutshell, it's just Grand Forks Central, and that's what we tell the kids. Like, hey, you play for Grand Forks Central. You're not JV. You're not varsity. You all play here, and that's kind of what we like to get through to those kids because it's an image that we like to hold, and that's who we are.
In about approximately 2 years, there's going to be a young gentleman coming up trying out with the last name Moreland. I'm going to need you guys to protect him a little bit because he really likes to push his dad's buttons. So it's where I'm going to cash in on any favor I have. It's just like, hey, if you guys could keep Matt from killing Jet today, that'd be super duper. I would appreciate that. So just know you're going to hear from me in about 2 years. So just know it's coming.
Absolutely. Are we protecting him or are we protecting Matt? Which one?
Yeah, it's both kind of. They like to fight with each other, so it's fun. You guys, you're gonna enjoy that a lot. So,
oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Good luck.
See,
yeah,
you know, friends, kids now coming through. As you know, I've only been there for, like I said, X amount of years now, but it's fun to see that now. You know, I remember Jet when I first started, Jet out on the ice and just a little guy. Now it's like he's here now. Like holy crap!
Yeah, he'll be coming up. He's going to be an actual Grand Forks Central night. Yeah. Well, next year, not hockey wise, but next year school wise. So, but like I said, it should be fun for you guys. I'm really, I'm apologizing in advance. So,
So with coaching JV and having kids come into the program when they start out their journey on the JV team, you know, do you see any sort of trends in the development? These are the kind of things as they come in that do separate them, that they need more developmental time in JV so they can move up to the next locker room.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, every kid's different, right? And like I just had a chat the other day with somebody about Team North Dakota stuff that was, you know, kind of shy about where their kid was, and it was like, hey, you know, you got to understand, like, you know, a lot of parents right now, the younger days are, oh, my kid's the best there is, right? Like you know, I get it, blind sight there a little bit, but each kid develops at a different age, and as they get there, some do need a little bit more time, and they know that. And, you know, we try to not instill it to them, but just let them know where they're at. Like that's one thing we do throughout the year. We sit down with kids and talk to each one of them, like, hey, here's where you're at. And even at the beginning, like we tell them right away, like, this is what you need to work on. They have time before or after where they can work on certain things that sometimes we might not be out there. And it's, hey, work on these little things. Like this is where you're at. And some kids progress a little bit faster than others, than some do. And so sometimes it does take a little bit more time, and it's hard sometimes. Like we try, as us four, we try to put as much time in each kid as we can for the development that they need. Like say little Freddie's off to the side doing something, he really needs to work on his skating. Like, so we practice skating with him, or we do, work on a shot with this kid. So the development part, with some of them, like I said, is as they age, you see it better. Some get really good just throughout the year, where some it takes them maybe 2 years to get where they're at. But that's just the development of that kid's body. Like some kids might not grow until after high school. So you hope, like I said, we hope to see each one of them progress as fast as we can get them there. And it's not always going to work that way, but we like to try and push them to that. And sometimes I think they get mad at us for it, because we really do push. I mean, we're hard on them, but for a good reason. And I realize that now, is back when I played, I'm like, man, I wish he wouldn't have did this. And now I see it. And I'm like, now I know why he did that. Wish I would have maybe put a little bit more time into that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully the kids can see it that way too, but they don't. I know that.
So in the last 2 years, I mean, everyone knows Central's just had a really, really deep team. Have you had a lot of players or any issues where you've got players who might be playing on a JV team at Central, but may have qualified on a varsity team in other towns, as far as just having really good players who are still stuck at a lower level just based on the numbers game?
Absolutely. And we've said that, like sometimes, how we are with seniors, sometimes, like if they don't make our top 12 or whatever it might be, like, they get cut. And it was like, man, it would have been nice to keep them, but we're so deep. But it's like, that kid's a first liner out, at this school or here or there. So yeah, I mean, we've seen it a lot where even like our fourth line, third line, whatever, really, do we say lines? No, I get on a depth chart, we put them down so it gets perceived that way. But like, say that our fourth line to go out, like that, our fourth line this year was a first liner on a lot of different teams in the state. And I think that helps, obviously, us progress last year, this year. And I mean, it's great for us. Don't get me wrong. We love it. But yeah, I mean, and you don't see it everywhere like that. Like there's few teams, us, Red River, maybe somebody out west from time to time, that have that full depth chart, and then even pushes down into the JV level, where we had JV kids this year that were kind of intermingled back and forth. And unfortunately, we had a couple kids get hurt. So that kind of got to where we were and kind of finalized where we were at towards the end of the year. But yeah, I think even our top end JV guys this year, that say the first liners or whatever they could have very easily made a varsity team this year somewhere.
So does having deep teams like that, having so much challenge amongst the team, do you see your upperclassmen then really taking on mentoring roles?
Oh, 100%. Like, it's great for us for that reason too, right? Because we're not in the locker room all the time. When they get there before us, this, that, and the guys that really want to push the kids. Like this year was a great group of kids that really helped the younger kids. Because sometimes you get that young kid that comes in that's a little shy, and you got to hope that one of the seniors kind of takes them under a wing or just helps push them, or you got a kid like Logan Bina that just comes in and is like, oh, hey, hi guys, like, doesn't need that, but just is the life of the room, right? Like, but some do, like, so you do have to kind of rely on your older guys to help the young kids, which I'm not going to say every year is that way, but I think the last few years has been really good for us in that aspect.
And I really like to ask this one. In all your years playing and now coaching, what's the best chirp you've ever heard?
Oh, man, I don't even know if I want to say some of them.
That's the other problem.
It's after dark.
That's the part of it.
Yeah.
Some of them are so bad, like, and I don't remember the full extent of it. But when I was playing in juniors, we had a kind of a ragtail kid that, back then there was fighters, had fighters, and he got in a fight with one kid, and it was supposedly the tough kid or whatever, and he turned and went back, and he kind of just gave him well, if you want to come out for one more pounding, just call your old lady, have her come down, and then call your mom. Like, and it was just like, man, like I was never that guy. I wasn't a
whoa.
I just played the game. Like, we're kind of sitting there, and I'm like, oofta. I'm like, okay, like we're in for one. I think they ended up fighting again towards the end of the game, but yeah, because like I said, I was never the chirp guy. I just played, so it was kind of funny to hear something like that. Like, so that was one of the better ones. And like I said, it wasn't. I can't repeat it word for word, but it was along the lines of his girlfriend and his mom, and kind of have a whole trifecta in there. So
That's
it
good
didn't
stuff.
it didn't make that guy very happy. I'll say that. The kid was pretty tough, so it didn't really help.
And if you could do me a huge favor, if you could tell Logan Bina that Corey wants to know when he's actually going to do a leg day with those skinny legs of his, I'd really appreciate it.
Uh,
All right, I promise.
I'll see him shortly here. Hopefully,
Good. Tell him Corey said that he needs to really concentrate on leg day.
absolutely.
I can already see that sweet smile, those cute dimples. What did he say?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. He's just the best kid.
Okay, I swear, last one, then these guys can take back over. So, what are your thoughts on Cam Urian switching his jersey number from number 2 to number 1 for Red River? Because his family might be sick of having him get second place. Just asking for a friend.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do if you want to get that one, I guess.
Yeah, the damn kid wears 2 as hockey, gets second place. He wore 5 in football, and they got about 5th place. He did.
Yeah.
He's wearing 1 for baseball this year, so God help us. Maybe we got something going.
He's wearing a goalie number.
Oh, hey, if they win it all, you know what he's got to do, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if they have number 1, but damn it, we're gonna put it on a defense.
Yeah. We don't have that in a player size. That's a goalie number. We'll take it. He loves that number.
Close enough. Start a trend.
Just take the ponytail and tie it up, right? That's what girls do, is do something like that.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. It'll be fine. He'll fill it out. We'll his mom will alter it.
Start a new numbering paradigm. It's probably time.
Yeah. We don't have the high numbers, so maybe just take the low number. I think the highest we got's 40 something now, so take the low ones.
In the old commie days, their goalies used to wear 1 and 2, so there's no reason why we can't change that up, right?
Make a switch.
Yeah,
maybe that'll be a trend.
Yeah.
If I know Cam Urian, that is a trendsetter right there. You know what I mean?
Sweet, beautiful boy.
Yeah. I'll use that opportunity. I'm going to bridge the gap between high school and then team ND stuff. So you do some work with Team ND. Obviously, some concern and chatter right now about the number of kids that are leaving the state to play, and getting younger and younger. And again, some of that's from outside forces like this, looming new college rules. One of the arguments that we've heard, and again, this is not intended to be a judgment, more of a sort of an airing of what's going on here, but kids transitioning out of Bantam into high school saying, I don't want to play JV, or I'm, either they don't want to do it or they think they're better or whatnot. So instead, they would leave the state to go play for a different program. So what would you say, again, as a person that handles the development, and my personal 2 cents is, if that's where you fit, that's where you fit to get better, right? It's not the end all be all, but it's a snapshot in time. So what's your? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what would you say as a guy that has a foot in both camps there?
No, I'll go back to the Judd Caulfield deal there. Like, hey, if he's too good for it, if he's not too good for it, anybody can do it. I mean, you look back to all the kids that have came through in the past. It'll kind of be, I'll say this one again in a little bit, I'm sure, but all the kids that have come through that have stayed here, that have went on, have all played a little JV, right? I did. I wasn't better than it. I knew where I was. Like, it's kind of our thing. I'm not going to speak for every team, because I'm not sure that every team does it, but our new guys that make the varsity team do play 2 to 1 period a night, which for us, the development part of that is, if they play the 2 periods a night and, they play all 21 games or 20 games, that's an extra how many periods, right? So it's like, you're not only getting your 21 games, if you take those 2 periods a night and add them up, you got more games too there. It's more touches. What was the average deal on that? Like 30 seconds a game or so that like an NHL player has it on a stick or something like that, right? Like, so the more opportunity you can give yourself to do that, the better, right? Sorry, I might have went off topic a little bit there, but No, I don't think that anybody's too good for it. I mean, it's a development process as well, right? Like if you some kids see it that way, but it's not needed to do that, to leave, to go and try to think that, oh, I'm better than JV. Or you could talk to a lot of those guys that have done it and they're like, hey, it's just a part of the process. And all I think if we brought all those guys that have done it back and we're like, yeah, it was great, perfect for us. Like, I know it wasn't no better than it. If I play both, I play both. If I play one, I play one. Like it's not a big deal. Like, just like I said, it's a part of the process.
Yeah, I guess that would be my 2 cents there too, and I think that's it seems like the logical choice, but I'm also sure if you're dealing with your own kid or something like that, it's easy to
It's easier said than done.
right.
Like,
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
yes, and parent, like kind of said earlier, some parents see it different, right? Like, oh, my kid's Gretzky, and he's much better than the JV level. Like, hey, like there's certain times where a kid might come and their parent might think that, and then it's it's our job to put them in the right position,
Yeah.
like to put them where they belong, right? And we're not, we're never taking any kid for granted in any sort of situation. We're there also to win. Like
Right.
we want to win. We're going to give ourselves the best opportunity. We're going to play the right guys that is going to help us win. And if you don't land in that spot for that time, I guess you kind of got to live with it. I hate to say it that way, but it's you know, and but I feel that also, even if you're not there, just keep with the process. You don't have to leave to get yourself better. If you want to get better, you'll truly work to get better. That's the way I look at it.
And now, I'll use this opportunity to tease out the fact that we're going to have a legit live Minot guest very soon. Um, big Corey Star wiped himself. God.
Saw himself up. Yeah.
Um, and again, I try and give the caveat that I think, in Grand Forks, we're very fortunate to have a not only good youth program, but two good high school programs, good opportunities for kids to play here. And I'm sure things look a little different if you are out west somewhere. There's probably a couple legit cases where I don't, forced out's not the right word, but I mean, like you have a narrow window there, and sometimes guys will take the opportunity to jump through. The flip side of that is that, as you sort of note, if you buy into the process, I still think there's a way to make yourself a good player in any of those communities if you are willing to put the time and work in, while understanding and not to sound too Grand Forks here, but there's an uphill climb to beat what's going on here, right? Or
Absolutely.
am I off?
No, no, you're right. And I mean, people look at it as, well, it's Grand Forks. They got more facilities. They got this. They got that. It's like, hey, if you want to put the time in, like I said, you can push yourself to get better. It's not going to take, we're not the world's greatest coaches here. We've just done a good enough job. And like, even before I was a coach there, how many kids they pushed on before that. And so, like yeah, we're not the best, right? Anybody can do what we can do in a nutshell. Like, we can all coach, but it comes down to the kid in the long run too. If he wants to get better, he's going to put the time in to get better. And if you just think that, oh, I have to leave to get better, that's not the right aspect. Like, or the right train of thought, in my opinion. We're going to do, I think, before I got there, like I said, to now, how many kids have went on that we've coached all the way through? It's a pretty good number, I want to say, that have moved on. There's D1 players, there's kids and juniors, all that type of stuff. And those kids wanted it, and they did what they had to do to push themselves to the next level. And we were just a part of the process. But yeah, sorry. And to the out west thing, like, they're always going to say that, right? Like, well, we had to go. There's nothing out here. We don't have this. We don't have that. It's you don't get the effects like we do. And it's like, I understand. I get it. Yeah, we do have more facilities. We have ice in the summer. Some of those towns out there don't. But if you have to travel, you have to travel a little bit, if that's what it's going to take to get you to where you want to be. Like, And the money side of it sucks too, because sometimes you have to put a little bit more money into it to do that in the summertime. And but at the same time, our summers are different. We have that, and I'm a little bit on the side of the summer. Let the kid be the kid. Let him enjoy the summer. You don't have to do hockey year round. So when it comes back to the fall where there's opportunities to start back up then. If you want to do some things, do it. I was different. I did it all summer long. And looking back, I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have maybe enjoyed being a kid a little bit more and did some other things and maybe played a few different sports, but I only did hockey and I might have burnt myself out a little bit too in the long run. But yeah, I think too, just the thought of what we have here to what they have out there is maybe, like you said, the uphill climb to try to chase that. But I think it's very well obtainable. You just got to put the work in.
Yeah, and I think that's, things like Team North Dakota, I think are helpful in trying to bridge that gap to giving kids some other opportunities without having to leave. And so, I guess I didn't mean to cut the other guys off here, but can you just speak with your experiences on Team North Dakota about what ultimately the goal is that you guys are trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, it's to I'm not gonna speak for everybody that sees it a different way, but we ourselves we want to push every kid again, it just at that too, to get them to the next level and to use it as a point of, I brought up the other day, I was talking to a guy and they were talking about the whole North Star stuff and well, they played X amount of games. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go to, and I can't even remember which kid I brought up, but, and I was like, how many games did he play with Team North Dakota? Okay. Played what a 40 some games, 30 games. Okay, so he played the 30 games there, and then he played 27 high school games. So you add that together, you got almost 60 games. And these other kids are leaving to go play 60 games, and they're paying a lot of money to go do that. And we've had a lot of kids that have went through Team North Dakota at a little cheaper rate, to say, that have done that, played the high school level, went back, did the Team North Dakota stuff again, and have push themselves to get to the next level as well. And that's our main goal is to help these kids get to the next level and to get noticed, right? Because a lot of kids think, well, we have to leave to get noticed, or I want to do this because I need to get noticed. Like, well, the Team North Dakota stuff will help you get noticed too. There's plenty of guys that we have throughout the whole system that can help a kid get noticed if they want to get noticed, right? So, and that's yeah, I don't think the leaving aspect is the right thing. Like, but that's just me. I get that other people are going to see it a different way, but for me, I want to help me personally, not whatever, but I want to see each and every kid that comes through this program progress to the next level, and everybody else here does too. That's a part of it.
I think the thing for me too is just to enhance hockey in North Dakota too, not to see it as a pass through system, but as a place where you can play and then I guess ultimately, been at this for a long time on the agency side of things is trying to advocate for the kids without having to say, I know they're from North Dakota, but you know what I mean? I'm tired.
Exactly.
I'm tired of saying it, to be honest. You know what I mean? So just trying to find a way to push that
No,
forward.
I was. Did you say something like that? Like I was talking. It was one of the Fargo guys, and we were talking about the Beadall brothers, where they're at now. And he told the guy, he's like, "Hey, you got to go watch this kid." And it was kind of that aspect. I think it was of the North Dakota guy. Well, like go watch these kids, and he went and watched them. They're both D1 commits now.
Yeah.
Like he's, oh man, like okay, like don't think just because we're North Dakota, we're North Dakota. We have a lot of really good hockey players here, and some people don't see that, but once they get it, like, oh, North Dakota, like, no, we have really good hockey players here. You don't have to take us off the map because we're the state that can see your dog run away for 2 weeks. Like, no, we still play good hockey up here.
First of all, how dare you? That's Saskatchewan's line. Second of all, point taken.
Once again, Kyle, that was a lot of syllables. I'm
Nope.
just saying.
Corey, at your age, you're just hearing it wrong.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Just checking. So taking the flip side of that kind of discussion, you're seeing a lot of kids leaving. As a guy who didn't play any hockey, and I'm just kind of watching as my kids grow through the sport itself, you see some kids leaving at a younger level, and you see kids going all the way through high school. And just anecdotally, I'm seeing a lot of kids ending up at relatively the same level if they decide to go on. So you see kids who leave early, you see kids play high school. They seem to all kind of, not all, but the vast majority of kids that go on to juniors seem to end up in the NAW league. And I haven't talked to any parents who've left early, but it seems interesting that all the players kind of end up in the same place that are the best players from high school and the ones who are leaving early.
Yeah, and that's kind of, you're going to get your select few that make it a little bit higher,
Mhm.
but in the long run of it, if you look back at it, yeah, a lot of kids kind of end up at that even keel spot. Like, was it worth the $100,000 you spent to have your kid go end up where your neighbor's kid ended up that played all 4 years or all 3 years at Red River Central? Like, and then some are going to say, yeah, it was great, it was awesome. Like, well, I don't know if it was, or some kids go there and some kids don't pan out even, like, and I think that like talking about the burning out aspect, like when kids go there, they're doing it 24/7, doing it, school in the pod and stuff like that. And, you did all that work, like you said, to end up in the same spot. What did you gain? Right. Like, I don't think there was no gain to go do what you did when, we have the opportunities here to get you to the same spot. In my opinion, it's not worth it to all. Maybe some they think it is, but I think we can do a good enough job here. I think all coaches in the state are doing their best to get them. I know the Red River coaches; they're all doing the exact same thing we are. They want the kids to get to the next level as well. They're going to do their best opportunity over there, and they've done a really good job too to get kids to where they need to be. Right, and you don't see it all the way through the state. So some people think it's different. Well, this kid was here, he needs to leave. Well, okay, I guess I see where you're at, but you know, is it worth it? And I don't see it that way. I'd like to see each community stay a whole rather than kids leave and kind of worsen the talent a little bit.
I think it's also, I think what you're to Jake, like to your point is, I think what for me, it's scary to see the idea of perhaps good players getting priced out of the game as well. Not everyone who has a child who could play at a higher level can afford some of these opportunities to go. And then if you're seeing a trend that is suggesting like you can't go anywhere unless you take these routes, or that there will be good players left behind if they can't pay that money, that's kind of a scary thing about hockey. Hockey always kind of teeters on, it's an expensive sport, we know this, but we're kind of seeing even that leveling up, like now that academies are coming into play, and just kind of the danger that can have for some players who are really good players, but maybe just their parents can't afford that. And where does that leave them? That's it's a fair conversation to have. And I think that I like Corey's point as well, is that I think that as like we're watching this mass exodus where players are feeling like they have to exercise those options, I think Corey made a good point. It's going to be really important to watch ultimately where those kids do wind up to make a statistical point of, was it worth it, and then that maybe that's the only way that we can, is that it has to play out. You have to be able to show like, hey, these players took this path, ended up here, these took this path. Do we feel that there's an actual advantage going on here? It's going to be important because this is a trend that's happening in hockey right now. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes. If it continues at the pace it does, if it fizzles out, because people go, well, ultimately, I just watched a kid who played 4 years of high school hockey hit a same level or a higher level, it's going to be interesting to watch it play out, but it is a big change. And I think North Dakota hockey players are so susceptible because it's easier to scare parents because we're not Minnesota hockey. So it's easier to say, like, oh, your kid won't get seen if they stay in North Dakota. So I think it's important to talk about because North Dakota parents have a pressure that other parents of other states, like I said, like Minnesota, don't have to that same level. So it's an important thing as North Dakota hockey parents to be mindful of and to talk about, because this affects our kids coming up. And kids have always left. I even remember, when Matt was in high school, there were kids that left, but not to the same places. So it's kind of unprecedented. This is a new page in hockey, and in particular for North Dakota, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, and to add to the kids leaving part of it, do you want to? We are completely okay with kids leaving if they're going to jump a level. Like, hey, if it's you're leaving your senior year and you're going to go play in the NAL or the USHL or something like that, by all means, go. Like, you're taking the jump. You're not leaving to go play the exact same level. And that's kind of the way we all look at it, I think, in some ways. It's if you're going to leave to go and play not better hockey, but higher level competition, and you're ready for that step, yes, go. But if you're going to leave to go play what you can play here, why do it? If we can still get you, hopefully, to that next level. And back to that point of like, well, all kids might end, not all, but some might end up in that same level. Like, so you just left to get to where you thought you were going to get to. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a point to, for parents to talk about, like, is it worth it in the long run? Like, so.
And I just see it play out, I mean, because again, it's so tricky too. And I think, we talk about East versus West, but North Dakota, we have so much good hockey, but we're not quite as big a power player as Minnesota. So we really do have to stick together. We tease and all that, East, West, all the things, but like North Dakota hockey as a whole is something that like we all need to root for, because we do have so many damn good players in this state. And, you don't want to see them just get categorized as just a North Dakota player. You can get them easy, you can get them cheap, and just because it undersells how good these kids are. They really are good. So I agree. Like, that's Team Indy and things like that. It is so important because it's North Dakota hockey deserves a chance, like Kyle said, to be a reputable place on its own, because we do have the players to support that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not going to plug the Moorhead game, but everybody wrote us off before the game started, right? We went in and look what happened. Like, so that's kind of what I think a lot of teams and a lot of people were already thinking before that game, like, oh, they stand no chance. Like, did we have a good team to go in and compete with that? Yeah, that goes to show that, like, hey, when North Dakota's good, which we have a lot of good kids here, like that, I don't want to say it helped, but at the same time, maybe it kind of did. Because it's like, we went in and played with the best team in Minnesota, per se, and we hung right in there with them. And luckily we ended up getting the win there. But, people just saw it as it's a North Dakota team coming to play Moorhead, whoop-de-doo. Like, but I think we maybe proved a few people wrong that night. So, which kind of helped, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
All I heard was stats, and I started to create a pivot table in Excel. Sorry, Kelly.
No, this is why I love you, because I'll talk about stats, but I need you to take them, Corey. So I'll refer to the stats, though.
We're knee deep in 3 tabs on a spreadsheet to track this right now.
Perfect.
Old 3-tab, they call them. We're getting close-ish to our time, we'll say. I'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about your time playing in Botno. And the reason I want to ask is just to highlight how many different opportunities there are to move on and play hockey. I think, kids get focused, well, USHL, Division One, but there are just so many different places to continue on playing. And that way I can give a plug to a good Saskatchewan guy up there too.
Yeah. So after I was done with my year in Dubuque, I think it was after. So back Team North Dakota back then, it was at the end of the year. It wasn't now it's the NIT tournament. Back then it was still the Team North Dakota. So, and it was only seniors got invited to that. So that was the first time I really talked to River, was there, and he kind of was like, hey, you guys are coming up here because there was going to be a practice and I want you to take a look at the school, blah, blah, blah. And when I was there, I actually sat down with him and talked to him a little bit and was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go and enjoy a year of juniors. Like, too many people say, like, go do it, right? So I went and I enjoyed it. I look back at it, and the junior route was great. Like, if any kids got a chance to do it, go do it. Like, it's so much fun. And I'm a homebody, so it was a little hard for me to move 9 hours away at first. And my parents left, and it took about 2 days where I was like, this is fun. Don't got to get told what to do by mom and dad for a year, so this is great. So, but so I ended up going there, and then that next year I got back in contact with him and ended up going up there. And he's a great guy. And it was a little different being, obviously, living in Grand Forks, which isn't that big, but then you go to a town like that's about the size of Riverside. So, but it was fun. I loved it. The 2 years that I ended up doing there, and back then it was still in, it was a JUCO league. It was the junior whatever. And so there was only 4 teams. It was in my first year, I think. We ended up making the national tournament that had 4 teams in it. So that's how big it was. But it was a lot of fun. We went to New York for that. It was kind of funny. A lot of us guys on the team kind of joked a little bit that it was more of a trip for River, because I think we went to a Blackhawks game and Minnesota game and stuff like that. I was like, are we going to play hockey, or are we going on a road trip with the coach here? So, but it was a lot of fun. Like, I wouldn't change it. It was great up there. And I actually, I tried to live off of campus, but he wouldn't let me. My aunt's aunt lived on Lake Metagoshi, just straight up from the school. And I tried to live there. She's like, you can have the whole basement to yourself. We don't go down there. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, hey, can I live up there? And I got told no. And I'm like, well, this sucks. I ended up having to live in the dorms, which it was actually, so a great story about that. It was my first year, and I was roommates with a football player. And I get back to my room one day and I see him, and all of a sudden I look and he's running out of the room, and I'm like, what's happening? So I didn't think anything of it. And a couple hours later, I get contacted by the police, and I'm like, yeah, like, where's your roommate? And I'm like, I no idea. Like, he ran out of here a little while ago, but I don't know what's going on. And he ended up getting caught an hour or so later. I guess he had ran into the high school football team's locker room, stole all of their wallets, and then came back to stash them in our room, and then to leave again. I'm like, what? So that was my first year experience. Pretty fun.
I am a hockey player. I would never do that.
I was like, what's happening? So I think it was about an hour later, I contacted, I can't remember who it was, and I'm like, hey, I need a new roommate. What? I'm
not
like,
to live here.
I was like, mine's in jail. I'm like, I need a new roommate. I'm like, what are you talking? They hadn't heard it yet. I'm like, yeah, he's getting arrested right now. I need a new roommate. So I ended up getting my own room for a while, and then another buddy ended up moving, another hockey player ended up moving in with me. But so I had my own room for a little while, which is all right. But then he's like, can I move in? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But so my first year, that was a great story to have there. Was, yeah, football players stealing stuff and stashed it in our room, which, yeah.
You should
Turns
call
out
Ruby. That should
dorms Dorms were not the place to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Oh God, no, not at all.
That should be the entire recruiting video for River there.
Right? Yeah. I don't even know if I ever told him that story, which is funny. But I mean, there's some good stories from up there that I've shared with him a few other times. I know one game we were all had a little night before, and he kind of got mad on the bench. I think we ended up coming back out and winning the game, but he's like, "It smells like a brewery out here." Yeah, yeah, I know why.
That's
Sorry,
weird.
coach. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we were down going into the second, and I think we ended up winning the game 6 or 7-5. So it was kind of a happy ending. But
You
the
should
next,
have blamed
right?
should have blamed it on the football player.
Well, right.
That was my roommate.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even know what drinking was till you put me in the dorms with that kid.
Yeah, didn't need to start until then.
Oh.
But no, it was a fun time up there. I had a lot. Like I said, I was there for 2 years, so
I like just try and highlight that stuff so kids know there's just lots of different places to ply your trade if you want to keep at it.
Yeah, there's so many different spots you can go. I mean, I get a lot of people don't want to pay to play hockey either after high school, but there's so many leagues out there now that if you do want to continue it, there's plenty of spots to go to. I mean, so whether it's, juniors or any of that kind of stuff, like there's so many opportunities now.
Kind of running up on time. Any final thoughts, Corey or Kelly?
Yeah, I'll take one. So we'll put you off of the hot seat, and I'll exclude any Grand Forks teams from this. But other than the Grand Forks teams, next year high school hockey, who are some surprise picks to win it all?
Win it all? I don't know. Hopefully we don't have to go through any of them. But
Yeah.
West Fargo is going to be really good. Cheyenne's going to have a good team as long as they stay healthy. I think they're going to have a pretty good team. They have some good kids up front, and their goalie's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a good goalie, so I think they're going to be one of the teams to beat, in my opinion. That's my team right now. If there was a team to have to get through, it's going to be them guys.
Okay.
Does that mean we have to have Coach Benson on to accept the compliment?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully he takes that the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he does a great job there too. So
yeah,
and
nice guy.
Yeah, I haven't had to get a lot of interactions with him here and there, but no, from what I have had him, he's a great guy. I think he's doing the right things there and pushing them to the right spot. So.
Okay, well, good. Corey, good. Nice to end with a bit of a cliffhanger / thought provoker.
Look at me being smart and shit.
Yeah. I like it. Anything you want to plug? You got anything upcoming? Open mics?
No, nothing crazy. Just nothing. No, I'm kind of away from hockey now for a while, and now it's golf season. So that's kind of where my mind focuses to in the summertime here. So hockey's done except for the occasional pop in and watch the Central Skates in the summer. But other than that, it's golf season for me. That's where I'm at.
Corey and I are fancier. We do sporting clays, so sniff. Mm-hmm. Just because we're bad golfers, so.
You're right there.
I think I've been banned from most Grand Forks courses at this point. I probably should stick to sporting clay.
All right. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining us. That was great. Good conversation. And we'll look forward to having you back again. Just so we got to even it up. We've got a lot of longtime guests. We got to get some more guys up there. And I'm talking about Matt. So.
Oh, can I plug one other thing, actually?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So with the Team North Dakota stuff, we're like when we after like tryouts and stuff like that, like we tell all the kids like, hey, whether you don't make a certain team or whatnot, there's other opportunities, and we have what's called the NPHL, the Northern Plains Hockey League, and they're it's the high school level gets 15 games, and it leads you right up into your tryout. So if you don't do anything and you kind of want to get in somewhat of game shape, we do have that for the kids, and there's no practices, and the games are only Saturday, Sunday, which a lot of kids are kind of the thought of, well, I play football or I do this. And it's like, well, hey, it's only Saturday and it's only Sunday. And there's the high school league and the Bantam League. The Bantam League has 12 games because the last weekend usually the Bantams are doing their tryouts a little bit earlier, so they get the 4 weekends. And so there's that for kids that might want to get a little bit extra ice time in, and get their lungs in shape if they haven't done anything. That's there for them to do if it's an interest to some kids. So just wanted to throw that out there a little bit, because sometimes kids are like, well, I didn't know anything about that. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's there. You just got to find it and whatnot. So yeah, and it's great. Like there's nothing, like we try to get 16. There's usually 6 teams in the high school level and and we want to try grow the number. And we're trying to get to 8 high school teams this year, which in the past we've had 6. And the Bantam, I think, is usually 4, and we'd like to grow that number too.
Yeah.
But and there's been talks of trying to expand into maybe a Pee Wee level, but we haven't really sat down too much on that, talked too much of it. But it's a great thing for kids that, like I said, want to maybe get a few games before their tryout for, say, high school or Bantams, to maybe get them in shape a little bit.
Yeah, I know a few kids we know kind of played last fall, and they had a good experience with it. So
yeah, it's a
encourage everyone to check it out if you like.
Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Well, listen, thanks again for joining us, and Corey and Kelly, thanks for your very
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pluto.
presentation. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.